Time now for our Media Watch segment. Emma James joins me here in the studio. Hello to you, Emma. It's the French cinemas, as we've just been saying, big night. It's turning out to be a very difficult year indeed for the Cesar.
Yes, exactly. To use the words of the British Queen, an annus horribilis for the Cesar Awards, because it's been completely dominated by just one issue and really one name in particular. Roman Polanski has engendered huge amounts of protest because, of course, he is a convicted child rapist. This is just one of the placards that's being taken around outside Salle Pleyel in Paris tonight. Polanski, rapist, it says, and the cinema industry is his partner in crime, I think is probably the best translation of that one, because a lot of people feel that Roman Polanski just shouldn't be the sort of rewarded in the way that he has been by the industry. And here in France, the Me Too movement's certainly slower to get going, and he still is being very much lauded as a great talent. There are huge protests in Paris, some fairly dramatic looking scenes, not the usual kind of red carpet fare that you would imagine. And one video appears to show that the protesters are actually trying to gain access to that red carpet. Tensions certainly running very high and feelings running very high too. However, this journalist who works for Mediapart tweeting that it is a striking contrast between the tear gas that you're seeing where the protesters are gathered. You've got women here doing the usual kind of thing on the red carpet and trying to take some selfies. Now, Roman Polanski himself will not be at the ceremony tonight. He'd already said that, saying that he feared a public lynching. He went on to say that what place can there be in such deplorable conditions for a film about the defence of truth, the fight for justice, blind hate and anti-Semitism. He seems to think that he is now the subject of blind hatred. Interestingly, he's not the only absentee. The entire cast and crew of J'accuse, as it's called in French, or an officer and a spy in English, are boycotting the ceremony. That's only been revealed tonight. They've clearly done it in solidarity, or perhaps even a sense of self-preservation, because certainly there are very large protests planned for tonight. Jean Dujardin, pictured there, the star of The Artist, the silent movie. He is also the star of J'accuse. He's put on Instagram this image of a front page saying J'accuse, and he seems to be a little bit bitter about this whole thing, and he's saying, I'm hoping this isn't going to annoy anyone. This person makes a very good point, a journalist. She says that it is sad, it's unfortunate really, that everyone is being penalised by this controversy, because this should have been a huge night for all of those who'd worked on the film. It is not Polanski who's been nominated 12 times, she points out, and there were hundreds of artists involved in making this movie, and it is a shame that they will not get their night in the spotlight. Interestingly, France's culture minister seems to not be quite sure which side of the fence he wants to be on this one, because he has said it would be a very bad look for France if Roman Polanski were to win Best Director, but he has said he'd be quite happy for it to win the Best Film Award, which does seem a little contradictory. I think he's trying to keep everybody happy with that one. One other notable absentee tonight is Brad Pitt. We don't know exactly what his reasons are for snubbing an honorary award, which is normally a very big deal. He had said he was going to accept it, then he changed his mind, and for the first time in the history of the César, nobody will be getting an honorary award tonight. A lot of people making assumptions that it is tied to the controversy and that maybe he just wants no part in this award ceremony tonight.
It remains to be seen Brad Pitt's reasons for not accepting that honorary award. As you say, a lot of key questions being thrown up tonight at this César Award. One French newspaper has drawn an angry response with its front page take on the controversy.
Yes, absolutely. Libération, the front page today, a lot of people talking about this one online. The headline says The Big Divide, and they've basically pitted Roman Polanski on the left, a much younger, smiling Roman Polanski, up against Adèle Haenel, who is a French actress, and it's basically putting a convicted child rapist on one side and on the other side a woman who says she was a victim of sexual abuse as a child by a movie director, not Roman Polanski, I should point out, but some people feeling that this is just hugely inappropriate. This woman saying, delete this this front page. Polanski should not be on the front of any newspapers unless it's a photo of him behind bars. Other people saying, we just don't understand what you're trying to say here. This group of feminists saying that putting a paedophile, a criminal paedophile, smiling, and a victim of violence looking angry next to one another, and then talking about the settling of scores. It does seem like a rather strange message to be trying to put across. Now, Adèle Haenel, you may not know if you're in our international audience and don't watch French cinema, she is the star of Portrait of a Lady on Fire. She's nominated for Best Actress tonight. She gave an interview earlier on this week, and what she said is that if you honour Roman Polanski at the Cesar, then you are basically spitting in the face of all victims. It means raping women isn't that bad. She also accuses France in general of having missed the boat on Me Too. And just to add to the idea that perhaps France hasn't quite caught up with the rest of the world when it comes to Me Too, Brigitte Bardot put her words of sympathy and support for Roman Polanski on Twitter, saying that he had, thank God for him, frankly. He's saved French cinema from mediocrity. It is an interesting take on it, and certainly a lot of people quite angry with her words. Not the first time that she's courted controversy, but certainly the protest tonight in Paris for the César, nothing like we've ever seen before for an awards ceremony here in France.
Nothing at all. And as you say, a lot of comparisons being drawn between how the US dealt with the Me Too movement, obviously Harvey Weinstein now being, taken through the court system, if you will, and then, it not quite gaining the same traction here in France. All right, Emma, thank you very much for the roundup of Media Watch.